Alright, so the coaching manual talks about 7 streams. Alright, obviously with the QBA and with the QAS gym programs, we go through the same sort of 7 movement systems except for the jumping exercises. But we'll go through each of these 7 and then we'll obviously split up. There's another couple in there which aren't on there, but we obviously do in our program. So can anyone give me one-legged exercise examples?
One-leg squat.
One-leg squat. One-leg deadlift. Anything else? Split squats. Anything really that's going to be going from one leg to the other. All right. So, lunges. So there's how many different varieties of lunges do you guys know? Front, side, and back. All right. So pretty much anything that involves one leg sort of strength, stability, that's our one-legged exercises. All right. What about two-legged? Squat, deadlift. Anything else? What about body weight stuff? What is a good two-legged body weight exercise?
Leg circuit.
Leg circuits. That's a single leg.
Jumping onto a bench.
Jumping onto a bench. Yep. That's probably more so the jumping exercises though. And just simple body weight stuff you can do at home. What are good two-legged exercises? Anybody speak up?
Downstairs.
Up and downstairs. Probably again more so one-legged. It's going up 1 foot at a time. Anything else? Squat holds, all that sort of stuff, right? The jumping exercises, they're more so, obviously they're more power-based. All right, so that's obviously jumping. So that's whether it's single leg, double leg, all that sort of stuff, jumping from side to side. You know, jump squats, even the ankle jumps Dewey went through at the start. They're sort of power jumping sort of exercise. All right. With the pulling exercises, we go through 2 different planes of it. All right. We have a horizontal pull and a vertical pull. Can anyone give me examples of horizontal pulls? Seated row. Bent over row. Leaning rows.
Reverse bench.
Reverse bench. Pull-ups. That's vertical. All right. So anything that we're going to be pulling pretty much to our rib cage. All right. Anything horizontally pulled that way. All right. Again, there's lots of different exercises you can do. What about TheraBand sort of stuff you can do using horizontal pull? Anybody? Parents?
Scat work.
Shoulder function. All right. Stuff such as low rows. All right. That's a horizontal sort of movement. All right. All that sort of stuff is a horizontal movement. All right. So again, that's one asset of our pulling exercises. All right. The vertical pull. What are examples of vertical pulls? There's very little, but pull-ups and pull-downs. All right. So anything where you're pretty much pulling from the top down to the bottom, they're our vertical pull exercises. All right. Pushing exercises. Push-ups. Bench press. Barbell bench press, dumbbell bench press. Anything else? Stuff you can do with a cable. I know we've done cable push. All right. Cable punches. All that sort of stuff. Pretty much anything that involves pushing weight away from your body. All right. So when it comes to the pulling and pushing exercises, anything pulling is obviously pulling weight towards your body. For anything pushing is pushing weight away from your body. All right. So again, push-ups, bench press, dumbbell bench press, they're all really good pushing exercises. They're really pretty basic when it comes down to it. Pulling exercises, there's a whole heap that we can go through, all right? Where it's barbell, dumbbell, cable, body weight, all right? Again, there's lots of different exercises we can go through that involve those sort of streams, all right? What about shoulder function? TheraBand stuff. What sort of TheraBand stuff do we have? Besides you guys, this guys at the back. What sort of shoulder stability exercises do we have that we do? Speak up. Internal, external, all right? So we can do that up the top, we can do that at the side, all right? Anything else? Supermans. Anything that's controlling our humeral rhythm, all right? So anything where same sort of thing, it could just be little movements going up and out, sort of things, Supermans, little wall slides, anything that's controlling our scap along our rib cage. All right, we want to make sure, especially as baseballs, I know we have a lot of problems with it. We can't really control our scapula or our shoulder blade along our rib cage. All right, so we need to do a lot of different exercises that make sure we encourage that sort of movement along the rib cage. All right. What about core function? We have 2 different types of core function exercises. All right, can anyone give me examples of one. Bridges. All right. So that's our core stability. All right. Bridging. That's when we have a lot of different stuff. There's, sort of coordination type stuff we've done. We can do on a Swiss ball. A lot of different stuff. That's just trying to control our core. Right. Stuff we do with acceleration as well. The DSI stuff is another component of core stability. All right. Being able to control that core through lots of different plane movements. All right. What else have we got? What other core exercises can we do? Core rotation, core power. All right. Again, that comes down to med ball throws. You have rope balls as well. All right. Cable chops, all that sort of stuff. Right. Anything that involves sort of rotation of that core. All right.
The one thing, Dan, I was just going to say that helped me a lot to explain what core is, because the average consumer. When I came back to Australia 13 years ago, it was all about TA, transverse abdominis, which is like this mysterious muscle to everyone. And then prior to that, it was like the abs and all that sort of stuff. But realistically, if you just want to remember this, is that your diaphragm is for breathing, but it's for core stability. And then you've got your pelvic floor, which basically stops you going to the bathroom. Okay, so you've got these two forces or muscles going against each other. If you think of core stability as these two muscles have to be able to contract against each other to create a bubble of stability. Now, if your ribs are sticking out here, you don't have core stability because your muscle contracts, it's not contracting in parallel. So if you start thinking about core as trying to get those two things to work in parallel to each other, then you actually have core stability. Which and everything else, so if you're doing a bridge, you're trying to brace in that position. If you're in the bridge and your ribs are dropping down to the floor, then towards the floor, or whatever, then you don't have core stability. Does everyone sort of understand that? Because that, for me, for the average consumer, that was like a light bulb for me. So that was just something I wanted to say.
That's perfect. All right. So again, we basically go through these 7 basic movement streams in all of our programs, right? Whether it's the Bandits Academy, whether you're doing even the acceleration programs that we've done, doing at Pine Rivers. The QAS programs, the elite scholarship guys as well, all right? Everything is based off these 7 movement streams, all right? So again, there's lots of different exercises you can do, whether you're in a gym, whether you're at home, whether you have cables, whether you have free weights, dumbbells, barbells, whatever, all right? Pretty much everything there you can do at home, you can do in a gym, all right? So if there's any sort of questions about any sort of questions right now, before we go ahead.
Pushing exercise would shoulder press, I'd assume, would be one of your pushing exercises,
yes.
And like incline as well.
Yep. We generally try not to do anything overhead.
Yep.
That's coming from sort of Eric Cressy background as well. All right. Obviously, baseball we're not so much worried about our deltoids as much as doing that sort of stuff. All right. We want to try and make sure our back is a lot stronger than our front. All right. So when we do same sort of thing, when we do our programs, that's why we split up our pulling exercises into a horizontal and vertical. So we have 2 pulling exercises for every pushing exercise we do. All right, so every single program that we write for our athletes is 2 pulling exercises for every push. All right, every single program, all right, whether you do it yourself at home or whether we write it for you or whatever else, you always try and do 2 pulls for every push we do. All right. Any questions?
I was just going to say, the reason that we had you guys try and come up with a bunch of different options is obviously each of you guys are all in a different situation. Some guys have access to a gym, some guys have access to equipment at home, some guys don't have any equipment at home. But irrespective of what equipment you have access to, you need to be able to structure a program that covers these core movements that are, I guess, most important to us as baseball players. These are the ones we think are the most important. You need to be able to come up with some options for exercises based on the equipment and the resources that you have access to. Hands up anybody here who has access to a gym. They either have a gym membership or they've got one in school or something that they can use. Yep, okay, so that's a pretty good group. How many people here don't have access to a gym at all? Don't have access to a gym. Everybody's got access to a gym? Oh, well, that's good. Can somebody, just as an example, Rory, can you come up with one movement from each of those exercises that you could do at your local gym?
Squats.
Yep.
Normal squats.
Yep.
Jumping on a bench.
Yep.
On the Dumbbells. Name.
If you can't think of the name, that's okay, but stand up and demonstrate it for us.
Stand
Don't
up.
be shy.
Stand up.
Up you get, come on.
I don't really know.
What does the movement do? What does the movement look like?
I don't know.
Can anyone come up with an exercise for a pulling movement, a horizontal pull that you could do at a gym? Yeah, seated row, low rows. That's all right. Look, I get it. I understand.
Come on, he hasn't eaten. Give him a break.
If you can't think of the exercise names, that's okay. But don't be shy. Just sing out. Demonstrate the exercise. What about a vertical pull? Do you know? Yep. What about some shoulder function that you would do at your local gym?
Internal, external.
Yep. What do you do it with? Just dumbbells, or have they got cables? Or
Cables.
cables? Yeah, good.
Weighted sit-ups.
Weighted sit-ups. Yep. So, is a weighted sit-up, is that a core rotational exercise, or is that a core stability exercise?
Stability.
A sit-up, is it?
Rotation.
Not quite. It's actually a flexion exercise, right? So the key that's still a core exercise. I'm picking on you tonight.
That's like saying, out of these strawberries and pears, which banana do you want?
No, I am. You're right. The key movements for us through our core are that rotational movement, and you guys can, I'm sure you can see the importance of a throw and all the rotation that happens through your core, and also for a hip as well. They're largely rotational movements that happen with all of this transfer of energy from the lower body through to the upper body, to generate that ultimate velocity or power off that, whatever it is. So that core rotation is really important, and that stability. So Stu was talking earlier about your arms and legs rotating around a stable core. They're the two key functions that we have in regards to our core. So it's okay to do sit-ups and flexion type exercises and all that sort of stuff, weighted stuff for that. That's okay, but the key ones in our 7 movement streams that we want to focus on are those rotational movements and those ones that create stability. Right? So resistance to torque. Right? Can somebody just very quickly throw out 7 movement streams or 7 exercises if they didn't have access to a gym? Quick, go. One-legged exercise.
Split leg squat. Split leg squat.
Yep, split leg squat. Yep, something like that, like a lunge or a split squat. Yep, what else? Two-legged exercise. Back squat. Deadlift. Front squat. Goblet squat. Lots of different things, right? Jumping exercises. Jumping onto a bench, standing long jumps, vertical leaps, combinations, ankle jumps, all of those sorts of things. Pulling exercises. Yeah, what do you do it off?
Tree branch.
Yeah, tree branch, the monkey bars. That's what I mean. This is what I'm talking about. It's about you guys. If you don't have access to equipment at home, it's about thinking what stuff could you access that would help you to do those things, right? Most parks and stuff these days have some little, bars and stuff set up at home that you could find maybe within when you're walking the dog. You do a few chin-ups and stuff when you go out to the bar, or you do the, where the horizontal bar is about here. You do a horizontal pull-up, instead of just a straight chin-up. There's lots of those things around, but you guys need to find where these things are. If you don't have access to a gym, or you can't get there, if it's closed, or whatever it is, it's about finding ways that you can still address the needs of your training program, without all of that fancy equipment. If you don't have the money to go and pay for a fancy gym membership, you've still got to get this stuff done, don't you? You can still have success and be a successful baseball player, even if your parents don't have the money to send you to the fancy Fitness First gym down the road. You can come up with solutions to your training needs. Does that make sense? Does anyone have any questions? Sorry, what else did we get to? Shoulder function? Supermans, yeah. What about internal and external rotation? How are you going to do those without a TheraBand? Baked beans, perfect. What else? Your water bottle. Fill it up with water. Get creative.